section is about animal behavior that helps them to survive. So remember, we talked about there's different kinds of behavior. There is innate behavior that they do not need to learn. They already know when they are born. And then there is learned behavior. That is behavior that they do not automatically know. Somebody has to teach it to them. The parent animal has to teach them what to do. So there's all different kinds of behaviors that fall into both of these groups. So we're going to go through some of those behaviors that help an animal to find food. So this spider over here, right, over here on the right, this spider is building a web in order to trap prey. So one behavior that animals exhibit is they exhibit behavior, of finding food. So, there are animals that eat only plants, and they learn how to, find the right kind of plants to eat. They watch their parents go around and eat, and they figure out, oh, this plant is edible and that plant is not edible, things like that. So for example, it says here that giant pandas need to spend up to 14 hours a day eating bamboo. All right. So giant pandas, all right, they learn where to find food, and they spend up to 14 hours a day eating bamboo. And then also squirrels, they learn, okay, how do I save food for the winter? So they learn about burying food in different areas around the forest, and then later on they go and they find the food. Predators also have to learn how to find food, right? So they either innately know how to find food, or they usually learn how to find food. So the the alligator snapping turtle, for example, right, it uses a pink worm-like lure in its mouth, right? So what is a lure? It's something that invites something in. So for example, when people go fishing, they use a fishing lure. So this alligator snapping turtle also figures out that, look, if I use this lure in my mouth, then some kind of fish will come close and I can quickly grab it, right? So animals, they learn how to find food, and they exhibit that kind of behavior. Animals, they mark their territory. So usually out in the wild, there's not just infinity amount of food for everybody. So what animals do, many animals such as this cheetah, right, they mark their territory by leaving some kind of scent on it, and then that tells other animals, hey, stay away, right? It tells other cheetahs, stay away from here. This is my territory. Only I can look for food here, right? And same thing with many other kinds of creatures like lions, with other kinds of cats, wild dogs. All kinds of animals mark territory, and they determine that, okay, in this territory only I can search for food, and they try to keep others out. So different kinds of creatures mark their territory in different ways. Birds, for example, they mark territories by singing. So they sing, and that lets other birds know, hey, do not come here, only I can look for food here. Mammals, they rub the bark from trees or release chemical signals. So that's what this cheetah is doing over here on the left. Many animals, they defend their territories, and they defend the resources that that they need in order to survive. So many animals, it says here, many animals must defend their food, mates, and offspring, which is their children, from competition. So animals, they do not want other creatures to come in and take away the resources that they need to survive, and so they sometimes fight others in order to keep their own food, in order to protect their own children from others, right? And so for example, this lizard over here on the right, what is it doing? It's puffing out its colorful throat flaps called dewlaps in order to threaten other males to stay away. So this lizard has learned that if it does that, then other males may stay away because they might be scared. So it can defend its own territory this way. Other kinds of creatures, they avoid danger. So avoiding danger is very important for survival. For example, the European hare, which is a rabbit-like creature, it runs really fast. It can run as fast as 72 kilometers per hour. And so as a result, it can run away from danger. Other creatures, they basically use camouflage to blend into the environment in order to avoid predators. Over here on the right, right? You see this octopus. So this octopus just looks like some kind of a rock right here underneath the ocean. So it actually changes its color in order to blend in with its surroundings. And so a predator might come by and just think, oh, this is just some kind of a rock, and just, go on its way. Skunks, for example, they release chemicals. Skunks and stink bugs, they release chemicals in order to warn or in order to trick predators, or to drive predators away. Many animals, they also migrate. So, for example, some creatures, they live in in the cold weather. So in some seasons, like in the summer, it might be warm enough for them to live. But when fall and winter approaches, sometimes it gets really, really cold. So then they migrate away. They journey away to a warmer place. So creatures, they decide based on the season and based on the weather and the climate, hey, look, I have to move somewhere else because I know that in the summer I can go over there to find food. But then in the winter, that food goes away, and so I got to go somewhere else to find food again. So over time, creatures learn where to go. Most of this is learned behavior. It's something that they learn by watching their parents. They see the parents and the older animals in the group always moving to another location and finding food. And so then the next generation does the same thing. So this is called migration. And of course, birds are famous for migrating. So we talked about the Arctic tern in the class. So the Arctic tern travels almost 25,000 miles every single year.